Hey, this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and today we're going to talk about the things that I did wrong. Now, obviously there might be a lot of these things, but I want to go over some stuff that I think were key and crucial in my development over the last 30 years as a competitive lifter. The first thing is when I was a kid is that, you think just going to the gym is important. And it is. But the point is that a lot of what I was doing wrong from the age of about 11 and 12 all the way up till about 24, 25 was diet. And the point was that I thought if I just trained hard enough and focused on reps and sets and intensities that I would be able to actually get better, and I did. But the point was that as I was not putting my emphasis into dieting, or not necessarily even dieting, just eating cleaner, what I started to notice was that it was really fighting me in progression by the time I was in my mid-20s. Now what this means is that instead of basing my stuff on quality proteins and quality fats and non-inflammatory carbohydrates, I was just trying to get in as many calories as I possibly could. And that was not a good situation. How was this not a good situation? Well, by the time I was 26, 27, I was already having some issues with not only blood sugar, but also triglycerides, which was genetically a big issue for me. Triglycerides, if you guys don't know, are directly tied into carbohydrate absorption or lack thereof, proper selection of carbohydrates. So the point is I was paying for a lot of the stuff I had done as a younger kid just to try to get bigger. So the point is, step one, don't avoid your diet and make sure that your diet is just as important as your training. Step two, when you're first starting out, I got really lucky that I had a couple of guys at the local gym, Tim Smith and Jim Dawson, that actually kept me from going too hard too fast. Now what does this mean? I actually just had a conversation with one of my friend's wives last night. She is a very avid strength trainer. She works really, really hard. She's down in the Cincinnati area. And she was like, I feel like I need to be working out harder in the gym. And the first thing I asked her was, well, are you getting stronger? And she's like, yeah, I'm getting stronger. And I'm like, maybe you don't need to do any more. And that's where I think everybody messes up, is that they think that they need to go harder to get better. And it all comes back down, and I've said this in a lot of YouTube videos before, it's not what you can do, it's what you can recover from. And I asked her, are you sore all the time or beat up or feel like you don't want to train? And she's like, no, I feel awesome. I'm like, it sounds to me like you're doing the right thing. So I know that I post a lot of videos of me doing really hard exercises and lots of reps. You got to remember, I've built up an immunity to that over many, many, many years. But I really, truly think that the first probably 5 to 7 years that I trained, I could have probably overdone it just a little bit. And I got lucky that I had people that held me back to keep me from going too crazy. But the point was that sometimes less is more, and oftentimes when we train, less is more. So don't fall into that trap. The next thing that I got really lucky that I always liked to do was sleep. Now what that means is that if you like to stay up late and you don't really get a good sleep rhythm, you're not going to be recovering from what you're doing. Okay, so the big thing is that make sure that your recovery is just as important as your training, right? And that ties back into diet. But I would say that sleep is a close number 2 to nutrition. Now, if you're not sleeping and kind of resetting the tape, so to speak, what's going to end up happening is that you are going to have an overtraining situation really, really fast. Now, what the problem is that when you're young, say 13 to 20, those sleep patterns really may not affect you a ton. But as you get older and in your prime, right, like we've all heard the guy go, oh man, when I was a senior in high school, trust me, that's horse shit, right? If you were your best at 18, I feel bad for you because you probably should have been your best at about 28 to 33. The point is that you want to make sure that sleep is crucial in your thought process when you're training. So for me to get up to the numbers that I got up to, for me to get as big and as strong as I got, for me to get the 600 raw benches, the 900 raw squats, and the 1200 equipped squats, here's the deal. Training, sleeping, and eating were all a part of that 24-hour-a-day process, and they were all scheduled, and they very rarely had any kind of interruptions. So the point is that make sure that you're looking at your training in a 24-hour session as far as what you're doing on the rest of the time, not just working out. So if you need help, come onto our online coaching, or at the bare minimum, come down and get a manual and look at some of the stuff that we're doing, the theories that we're using, and hopefully that can help you get better without overtraining.